First, introduce yourself, and tell me about yourself.
Andy Sabisch. I've been metal detecting 51 years. Started as a Christmas gift for my parents, and they figured I'd lose interest. 6 months later, it'd be in a closet or in a flea market, and 51 years later, I'm still swinging a metal detector.
Awesome. And what got you? Tell me again. I know you said this in class, but tell me again why and how you got into metal detecting from the start.
Back in the 1960s, I saw an ad for a Viking metal detector on the back of Popular Mechanics that my father had, and I saw the gold coins and bars of gold and lost treasure you could find. I figured I had to have one of these, and I got one, spent a year with it, found about 20 coins all total the first year, and stuck with it. My parents are still surprised that I've kept active with it. They're pushing 90 years old now, and 50 years later, I'm still swinging a machine.
Great. Tell me about your first detector.
First detector was a one-knob beat frequency oscillator, $20, 1995, from the back of Popular Mechanics that I sold back in the 1960s, and in 20 years search to find it. I found one a few years ago. A friend of mine out west found one and got it to me, so I actually have one of those original metal detectors hanging on the wall.
Great. So what's your favorite detector these days?
Unfortunately, I don't have one machine because I do all sorts of detecting. I'm not like a coin hunter only or a relic hunter only. I mean, I scuba dive, I prospect, I relic hunt, I coin hunt. So I've probably got 30 detectors of my own. As far as primary detectors I go to, the XP Deus, several of the Mine Lab machines, First Texas, Fisher, Technetics. I've used them extensively in the water. So I've got a number of go-to machines depending on what kind of hunting I'm going to do.
Awesome. And what do you think your best find's been to date? What would you classify as your best find?
Well, I don't want to sound odd here, but I'd say peace of mind, some of the relaxation. That's a great find. Some of the friendships I've made have spanned 20, 30 years. We meet on a field metal detecting, and 20 years later, we're still friends. I hate to put a price tag on what I find because I sell very few things of what I find. Most of what I've got is still either in safety deposit boxes or in displays in museums. I've got displays in my house, but I sell very little of what I find. So, yeah. I mean, people always put a monetary value on things. I don't.
I hear you. I'm glad you answered sort of, health and peace of mind and friendship, because that's really what it's about. Personally, I don't get into silver counts. I got a buddy who's like, I'm 25 for the year, and I'm like, I just go out and find, if I find an old buckle, I'm happy. So it's the same way with me. I'm not in a race. I'm not in an account race or anything like that. So that's great to hear. So what keeps you going all these years? Besides a wife who also detects. That's helpful.
Yeah, I mean, the excitement of never knowing what you're going to turn up, being able to touch history. I mean, you're out there hunting a wooded site where there was a Civil War battle 150 years ago, and you pick up a bullet the first time it's seen the light of day in 150 years, so you can actually touch the past. I've hunted Europe. We've found Roman sites. We've hunted Celtic sites. We hunted the former winter palace of one of the czars in Russia. So when you're finding something that was touched by somebody tangible 100, 200, 1,000 years ago, to me, that's something that's indescribable.
What advice do you have for newbies just getting started?
Don't get frustrated. Don't think you're going to go out there and find buckets of silver coins the first time out, because if you do, you're bound to get disappointed. Stick with it. Stay local to start with. Put in the time. Put in the effort. And eventually the stuff will click. It becomes second nature. A lot of what you see on the forums are guys, they don't show you the hundreds of hours where they don't find anything. I typically, when they do these classes, I bring a 5-gallon bucket full of trash, and I dig the trash to get the good stuff, so people see the good things and realize there's more to it than just going out and digging silver coins.
So if you could identify one thing that's been the key to your success, what would it be?
Persistence. I mean, there's been times where I've spent 2 or 3 hours in a 20-foot area. You know, being willing to put in the time and the effort. Research is critical. I mean, there's more guys I know that will go out, hunt the same park that was built 20 years ago and wonder why they're not finding Indian head pennies. If you've done the research, know where to hunt, you're always going to do well.
What do you think is your favorite thing about metal detecting? What do you like the most about it?
I like the most. I said the friendship is a big thing. Being able to relax, because when I go out, I don't have my cell phone with me. It's just my headphones, and I get into the zone. Ask my wife, I can have a bad day at work, grab the metal detector, go out, and a half an hour later, my whole demeanor's changed.
What do you dislike the most about the hobby? What bugs you the most?
Well, I think what bugs me the most, and what's going to really dictate where this hobby goes, is what we do to ourselves. The hobbyists that go out, leave holes open, get laws enacted to add additional restrictions. 20 years from now, we'll have nowhere to hunt. We'll have the best detectors out there with nowhere to use them. So I think what my pet peeve is as a hobby, we have to do a better job policing ourselves.
Okay. If you could go back in time and talk to that yourself as a young boy, what would you do differently starting out? Looking back at your career as a detectorist?
Well, again, I've had the luxury of hunting in Australia, South America, Africa, Europe, North America, South America. So, I mean, I think I've really had the picture perfect career, if you would. I mean, I've gold prospected. I've dove on the shipwrecks with Mel Fisher's group 20 years ago. I've hunted, Europe. I've done Roman sites, Celtic sites. We've hunted desert sites in Morocco. So, I mean, I've really had the ability to go worldwide and experience treasure hunting on a worldwide scale. So I'm not sure I do a whole lot different.
Same thing all over?
Yeah.
Great. That's why I love interviewing people that have been around and have a great long history in detecting. It's really fascinating. I appreciate it. Just a couple more. What do you think the future of detecting is going to bring us?
I think technology is clearly going to leverage metal detector technology will move forward in leaps and bounds. Cell phones, you look at cell phones, I mean, cell phones are outdated a year after they're introduced. I think metal detectors were pretty stagnant for about a 10-year period. Back in the 80s, it was kind of every year a new machine came out, you had to buy it because you got an extra inch or two of detection depth. Nowadays, I mean, the last 15 years or so, that's pretty well stabilized. But I think with some of the new detectors that are coming out, primarily from outside the U.S., I think we're seeing technology take that next leap, and I think we're going to be able to re-hunt sites that we all thought were hunted out 20 years ago.
Fantastic. Okay, now I'm going to plug your book for you. I know you've got several out. I know of one on XP and one on mine on the CTX 3030. What are the other? If there's any other books, let me know. And what got you into making those books? And I happen to have gotten the XP book with my detector when I bought it used, so I'm really glad I did because it's been a fantastic resource. So I just want to say to everybody out there, if you can pick up one of Andy's books for the CTX 3030, it's really a fantastic resource. So tell me a little bit about that.
Again, a lot of the old timers, when I got into this as a kid, a lot of the people, Charles Garrett, Carl Van Mueller, some of the other well-known people imparted their wisdom to me, and I really appreciated that because that kind of got me started on the right foot. I started writing for Treasure magazine back in early 80s and moved to Lost Treasure, and I've been writing for Lost Treasure for 35 years. I do their field tests, I do a lot of their columns, I do how-to guide articles for them. Back in the early 90s, I started writing books. I did a book on water hunting, advanced water working techniques, still in print. The Treasure Hunter's Handbook, a generic book in terms of A to Z, how to get started, how to do better in terms of metal detecting. Brand specific for Fisher, we've done the Fisher CZ book. We've done books for Mind Lab on the entire series of Mind Lab, XP. We've got several books in the works, and it's something I enjoy doing. Mm-hmm. Some people sit there and watch TV or play video games. I sit there in front of the computer and write books. So
yeah.
Again, it's therapeutic.
Any coming out for specific detectors that you can mention, or?
We've got a reprint that's coming out for the Mind Lab Safari that was out of print. We're putting it back into print. There's two other machines that are in the works. I can't go into details from different manufacturers that we're working on a book to release soon after the machine comes out.
Sure.
And then we're also looking at doing another water hunting book as well as a general introduction to treasure hunting A to Z.
Great, great. And one more thing about the boot camps, which I attended and really got a lot out of. Definitely, with 3 years of my dais, what I love and hate about it at the same time is that it's complex and it's kept me learning, and that's why I'm really glad I have it. How long have you been doing the boot camps?
The XP boot camp since 2013.
Okay.
2014.
All right,
is when we've done
and then
that.
you do one for the CTX 3030?
CTX 3030 and the E-Truck.
Okay, great. So anybody out there who wants to look up online and find out where the next one is, it was most definitely worth the drive down and the camaraderie that I had and all the great stuff that I learned. Andy and his wife do a fantastic job. So
Great.
thanks,
Okay.
appreciate it. All right.
Thanks.